Okay, so the area that we have right now is this one right here. Obviously, that thing that you see there is like a waterproofing, material of covering, but on top of the fireplace, obviously, whoever put it didn't think much about it. I mean, the water will fall through it anyway. So we're gonna remove some of that anyway, and we're gonna make a frame around here that is gonna be our some sort of mantle with the AirStone that we have right there. So the idea is that we're gonna be just create a frame on both sides. And we're gonna cross it right there, and we're gonna put some nice framing around it so it will hold the concrete boards that we have here. We have some concrete boards, and we have this lintel, this little thing that is gonna support some of the stuff I need to modify. I will show you in a moment. Then after that, we're gonna go ahead and start working with our pieces. So let's continue. Since in this case I'm working with a fireplace front that was completely removed, so you have to build back again your wall, right? So we have this drop ceiling over here. We need to continue the drop ceiling with the same type of material, and so we know where our decoration is going to stop. Our decoration with the AirStone is going to stop. Now, this is crucial. The fireplace, you have to be careful when you're working around the fireplace, because obviously you're going to have fire and right there. So besides the point that in this case I'm closing everything with the concrete boards and all stuff instead of drywall or whatever. I'm also in the back of these things, because we have the smoke that will come over here and all that in the back. What I did is that as I was building, I actually installed a concrete board on the structure, and I sealed it up with mortar. And this is to just obviously prevent that any type of smoke or fire or whatever intense heat is going to go there. I mean, the intention is that we'll go through obviously a regular shaft, the venting shaft that it has, but you don't want to have all the smoke behind your walls and all that. So you got to be careful with that in the case that you have to rebuild that. If you're just covering the face of it, it's completely different story. You need to skip that process, right? So the idea now is that all these corners, we're going to seal them up with the fiberglass mesh or tape. I'm going to use some thin side mortar for that. And then we will proceed with the rest. I mean, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 corners, and you have to consider those 4 corners because that's a lot of the little stones that they sell them for corners and stuff like that, and that's kind of where the tough work is going to be. So once you have the area already covered and ready for your work with the AirStone, I have a piece over here. A few things that are important. This is an exterior and interior application material. You have to use the material that is indicated for the exterior purpose as far as the adhesive. When you're working around a fireplace, a few important things to consider is that you want to be about 18 inches away from the fire source. And you can decorate, a lot of things. Don't put it on the floor or in the ceiling. It's not recommended for that. If you're going to work in exteriors, obviously you want to make sure that whatever is behind it is waterproofed. If it needs to be waterproof, So I mean, the material, since it's going to be like butter against each other, it's not going to have a sealer type of thing, waterproofing type of effect. It's just going to be a facial decoration. Also, when you want to start on the fireplace, you want to make sure that you start from the top of the fireplace up, and then you go down on the little edges. That's because aesthetically you don't want to have to trim all that stuff all the way through. It's easier in that corner. That's what is suggested. You can cut it with a grinder and a diamond blade. Obviously use a mask and glasses to protect your eyes. The ventilated area is really important. You can actually cut it on 45 degrees or whatever application you want. But in this case, we're going to work on this area. So again, we're going to start from the top of the fireplace up, and then on the little edges on the bottom. So let's continue. What you see here is like the material that is in the boxes of the AirStone. In this case, this color. You have about 3 or 4 different variations of the color. I would say 3. Obviously different sizes. Some of them are double, some of them are small, medium, large. The same thing with the corners. So I have some corners in the back and some kind of long pieces in the front. And the idea that, as you see there on the line, I made a line, straight line on top. The idea is to start from that up and then just finish the bottom part. With this, what you want to do is that, let's say if you have these corners, you want to start with a corner like that and then flip it and cut it. and just kind of, interlock, put one here, one there. And I'm talking about like small, medium, large, whatever, you want to just make sure that it looks kind of natural. If you're gonna cut this with a water saw, like a wet saw, whatever, you want to make sure that it's nice and clean. So you want to use sponges. Even working over here, this is the material that we're gonna use. Here it is, the stuff that they have for you to, the adhesive in this case. This is the type of trowel that we're gonna use. A little spatula, some knives and stuff like that. Obviously, glasses, masks, like you see there in a mask. And for the grinder, so you can actually cut the stuff, in this case outside. I don't want to make a lot of dust inside here. So let's start from here and let's continue all the way up. Well, I'm gonna stop for a second. I'm gonna start for a second. And you see that we are going like about 2 feet up from the top of the fireplace. Few things. The important thing is that you want to fill all the little areas, and you don't want to waste a lot of material. Always, have it available there. And like here, you see that some of them are big, and they go against the sheetrock in this case, or the drywall, and the short ones, and they're gonna need a filler. So it's kind of like, I'm leaving the little fillers for the end. But once you get to a particular point, you want to make sure that you get, like in this case, I cut these little cardboard pieces, and I want to make sure that I maintain a nice level, I correct the level. The reason is that these little pieces of culture stone, or AirStone, are slightly different in sizes sometimes. So you want to make sure that you don't start curving your walls, especially if they are like long runs. You want to make sure that you correct them every often, like maybe a foot or two, depending on this. This is like about 2 feet, so I'm going to go ahead and correct it. Again, use the sponges. The colors, the yellow, red, green, and all that, kind of helps you to understand what colors are what. It's like the yellow plastic is like a lighter tone of stone, and I guess when they're manufacturing these things, it's a kind of a way for you to know which ones are lighter than other ones. Just like a little tip. But anyway, you want to make sure that you keep the sponge with you, cleaning all the little excess material. I use the trowel, for longer pieces. For like cover the area. But I use the little spatula to just kind of go ahead and work with the bigger pieces, because you want to make sure that everything is nice and like attached to the stuff. So you want to read your surfaces, meaning that you want to make sure that when you put something on I'm going like a little thicker, but when you put something like a little thick on the wall, it's going to stay there, it's not going to fall down. So you may use maybe like a 1/4 inch trowel, or you use 1 by 1 piece, which is fairly tedious. All right. Well, the top part is finished. So now we're going to continue with the edges, the little corners over there, to fill those in with a lot of the leftovers, which you want to keep collecting the little pieces over there, and you want to keep collecting, and you want to continue cutting a lot of these pieces. Since we're going to start from the top down, obviously they're going to kind of drop a little bit, so you want to have a lot of cuts already made. These cuts obviously are the ones in the corners there, so you just kind of measure the inside, and you kind of cut the little piece that you don't need. And then you kind of play with the stuff as much as possible, so you can actually have a lot of them pre-cut, like what I'm doing over here. You can see little cuts over there. You want to have all that pre-cut for you to start stacking them from the top down, and that's the same faith that is going to be on the other side. So don't get frustrated. Let me show you here. Sometimes you have like some pieces that are like bigger than other ones and stuff like that, but it's kind of the look of a natural stone. So I guess purposely they make it really precise, because nowadays you can actually do a lot of things really precise. So it's more of the natural look, which is fine. You're gonna find a lot of pieces that are like small pieces. Those are from the cuts that you have. Obviously, depending on the size of your fireplace, or your decoration, or your wall, or accent, or whatever you want to call it. But there are a whole bunch of little puzzle-like pieces that you want to just put together. Anyway, let's continue keeping everything nice and clean, and just kind of making it up as you go down. So, and once you're finished with everything and clean everything, this kind of design is a little more industrial type of finish, with the concrete thing on the inside. I have that reinforced concrete just in case for the heat or whatever. I doubt that they're going to use this fireplace. It's a wood fireplace, but I don't know if they're going to use it anyway. It's actually, you know, it is rated to withstand the heat anyway. But what else can I say? Well, details, you got to be, you know, just curious when you're doing all your work again. You're gonna have a lot of little cuts here and there, and I want to make a clarification. Oh, I'm sorry, acceleration. Yeah, well, clarify something anyway. The thing is that we have three different type of designs with these guys. There are one that is the corner, another one that is just like the filler, which is like a flat piece, and then the other one has like a nice natural edge that will help you. I forgot to include the natural edge one that will help you for different type of applications. So I hope this video will help you to understand how you can do your own projects like that, to use the AirStone material. Obviously read all your instructions just in case, like I do all the time. And that's pretty much it. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this video will help you, and if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. If you are, thank you as always. You know, I try to put as many videos I can make while I'm working. All right, take care. See you in the next one. Bye.